Good morning students. Today we will do the revision of lesson number 7, that is getting to know plants. Plants are usually grouped into herbs, shrubs, trees, creepers and climbers. So plants are classified as herbs, shrubs, trees, creepers and climbers. So first is trees. These are big plants which have a tall and strong stem which is called as trunk. So this is a tree and this brown part is known as trunk. They are tall and have strong stem. Stems have branches in the upper part much above the ground, and they have the stem, and these stem have branches on the upper part. These trees live for many years. They have a very long lifespan. For example, mango, neem, banyan, coconut, etc. So these trees have long trunk and they have many branches. They have a very long lifespan, and there are many examples of trees such as mangoes, neem, coconut, banyan, etc. Next are herbs. Herbs have soft, green and weak stems. For example, rice, wheat, maize, sunflower, mint, etc. So these are herbs. They have very weak and green stem. These are the green stems which are very weak, and they are called herbs. There are many examples of herbs like rice, wheat, maize, sunflower, and you have seen a very common example of herb at your home, that is tulsi. Next are shrubs. Shrubs, they are bushy and have hard stems that do not bend easily. These are the plants with the stem branching out near the base. For example, lemon, jasmine, China rose, nerium, etc. So these are the shrubs, and they are bushy and have hard stem. They do not bend very easily. And there are many examples of shrubs that are lemon, jasmine. You have seen rose at your home. Some of you may have. And there are many more examples of shrubs you have seen. So next is climbers. Climbers have weak stem and cannot stand. They take the support of other trees and climb on them. So this is the example of a climber. They have weak stem and they cannot stand erect. They take the support of other trees. See, like here, they take the support of this and climb on them. That is why they are known as climbers. Next are creepers. Plants which creep on ground and spread out are known as creepers. For example, pumpkin and watermelon. So this is an example of a creeper. Those plants which creep on the ground and spread out are known as creepers. For example, pumpkin, watermelon, etc. Next is classification of plants on the basis of their life cycle. First is annual plants. Plants whose life cycle is completed in one season. Those plants whose life cycle is completed in one season are known as annuals. These are generally herbs, and the examples are wheat, mustard, tulsi, etc. Next is biennials. Plants whose life cycle requires 2 seasons for completion are known as biennials. For example, carrot, radish and potato. Next is perennials. Plants whose life cycle runs for more than two seasons. Whose life cycle run for more than two seasons are known as perennials. For example, guava, babool and palm trees. They have a life cycle of more than two seasons. That is why they are known as perennials. So here the plants are classified on the basis of their life cycle. Next is parts of a plant. Plant is divided into two systems. Number one is root system and number two is shoot system. So the part of a plant which is below the ground is known as root system, and which is above the ground is known as shoot system. So number one is root system. The roots and its branches make up the root system. In root system, the roots and its branches constitute root system of a plant. Root is the underground part of a plant body. It is non-green. The part of the plant which is below the ground is root. The root grows into the soil and away from the light, and the roots grow in the soil and away from the light. The roots are of two types. Number one is taproot and number two is fibrous root. So first is taproot. It is formed by the baby root or radicle which comes out from a germinating seed. It is the main primary root arises from the lower end of the stem. A number of tiny branches arises are called secondary roots. For example, mustard, neem, rose, etc. So this is an example of a taproot. This is the main root which is known as primary root also, and these small roots are secondary roots. There are many more examples of taproots such as mustard, neem, rose, etc. And this taproot is formed by the baby root which comes out from a germinating seed. Next is fibrous roots. A bunch of roots arises from the base of the stem are called fibrous roots. For example, wheat, maize, etc. This is an example of a fibrous root. These are the bunch of roots arises from the base of stem. There are several roots arises from the base of this stem. They are in bunch and these are known as fibrous roots. In taproot there is a main primary root, but in fibrous root there are several small roots or several bunch of roots arises. So this is an example of a fibrous root and this is an example of a taproot. Now the functions of root system. Root absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Root absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Root helps the plant to stand erect. It also helps the plants to stand. Roots check soil erosion. It also check the soil erosion. Roots store food. Roots also store food for the plant. Next system is shoot system. The parts of the plant which grow above the soil is known as a shoot system. The shoot system includes stems, leaves, buds, branches, flowers, fruits and seeds. And all of these have different functions. So let's revise in brief. Plants are grouped into herbs, shrubs, trees, creepers and climbers. These are trees having a strong trunk, having a very long lifespan. These are herbs. They have weak stem and green stems. They are shrubs. They have strong stems but they do not bend easily. They are climbers. They need support to climb up. And they are creepers which creep on the ground and spread out. So all these are the classification of plants. One more classification is here. The classification of plants on the basis of their life cycle. The first is annual plants whose lifespan is completed in one season. Biennials whose life cycle require 2 seasons for completion. And third one is perennials whose life cycle require more than 2 seasons. The examples of annuals are wheat and mustard. Examples of biennials are carrot, radish and potato. And the examples of perennials are guava, papula and palm trees. Now the next is part of a plant. It is divided into two systems, root system and shoot system. Root system includes roots and its branches, and the shoot system, these roots are also of two types, tap roots and fibrous roots. This is a tap root and this is a fibrous root. There are many functions of root system. They absorb water and nutrients from the soil, help the plants to stand erect, check soil erosion, store food. Now the next system is shoot system, which include the part of the plant which grow above the soil constitute shoot system. It also includes stems, leaves, buds, branches, flowers, fruits and seeds, and they all have different functions which we will discuss in our next video. So thank you and see you in the next video. Leaf. A leaf is a flat and green structure on a plant coming out from a node on the stem. So this is a leaf. It is a flat and green structure of a plant, and this is coming out from this node on the stem. Now the parts of leaf. First is petiole, stalk of the leaf with which it joined to the stem. So this is the petiole and its main function is to join the leaf to the stem. Here you can see also this is the petiole and its main function is to join the leaf to the stem of tree or plant. Next is leaf lamina, the flat green portion of the leaf. This is the leaf lamina. Here you can see this portion is leaf lamina, this flat portion. Next is veins. These are the networks of small, narrow, tube-like structures on both sides of the midrib present in the middle of the leaf. So these networks are tube-like structures are known as veins, and these are present on both sides of the midrib. And where is the midrib? This center vein is known as midrib. You can see here also this center vein is known as midrib. These are the side veins, and this is the leaf blade. Here you can see this part is known as leaf blade. This is the tip. Here this is the tip. This is petiole. These two structures are stipules, which is not present here, and this is the stem of the leaf. So I hope you can understand, or you have understood this parts of leaf. This is the midrib. These are the veins. This flat surface is known as lamina. This sides are known as leaf blade. This is petiole. Node and stipules are not present here. So basically this is the main structures or parts of a leaf. Now what are the functions of leaf? The main function is transpiration, process of losing water by the leaves of a plant. So transpiration is the process of losing water by the leaves of a plant, and this is the main function of a leaf. Next is preparation of food by the process of photosynthesis. As we all know that food is prepared in the leaves of green plants by the process of photosynthesis and with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll. Next is leaf venation. The pattern of veins on the leaf is called venation. The pattern of veins which is present on the leaf is known as venation, and it is of two types. Number one is parallel venation and number two is reticulate venation. So first is parallel venation. When the veins are arranged parallel to one another all over the leaf blade or lamina is called as parallel venation. So you can see here when the veins are present parallel to one another, so the venation is known as parallel venation. You can see here also in this leaf, you can see that the veins are arranged parallel to one another, and this is known as parallel venation. This is the example of parallel venation. Other examples are grass, sugarcane, maize, etc. Next is reticulate venation. When veins show network or web-like arrangement all over the leaf blade or lamina, it is known as reticulate venation. When the veins are arranged, when the veins show a network of web-like arrangement, like here, so this is known as reticulate venation. You can see here also. Here, these veins are arranged in a web-like arrangement. So this is an example of reticulate venation. The other examples are rose, neem, mango, guava, etc. So there are two types of venation: parallel venation and reticulate venation. When the veins are arranged parallel to one another, so it is known as parallel venation, and when the veins show web-like arrangement all over the leaf blade, so it is known as reticulate venation. Plants having leaves with reticulate venations have tap roots. All the plants which have reticulate venation, they have tap roots, while the plants having leaves with parallel venation have fibrous roots. And those plants which have parallel venation, they have fibrous. Now, next is flowers and its parts. So what is a flower? It is the reproductive organ of the plant. Flower is also known as the reproductive organ of the plant. So these are the parts of a plant which we will discuss one by one. Number one is pedicel, stalk of the flower through which the flower is joined to the branch. It is joined to the branch. So this is the pedicel of the flower. You can see here this stalk is the pedicel of the flower which join the flower to the branch. Next is sepals, small green leaf-like structures on the thalamus. They protect the flower. So what are sepals? These small green leaf-like structures are on the thalamus are known as sepals. So this swollen part is known as thalamus, and these leaf-like structures are known as sepals. You can see here also these leaf-like structures are known as sepals. Next is petals, brightly colored leaf-like structure present inside the sepals. Petals attract the insects and help in the process of reproduction. So these brightly colored leaf-like structures are known as petals. You can see these are the petals, and the main function is they attract the insects and help in the reproduction. Here these red brightly colored leaf-like structures are known as petals, and these petals help in the process of reproduction. Next are stamens. These are long, thin and needle-like structures. These are male organs of the flower. It consists of two parts, anther and filament. So stamens are the long and thin needle-like structures. These are the male organ of the flower. So this is anther and this is filament, and this whole structure is known as stamen. You can see here also. These yellow parts are known as anther. This red tube-like structure is known as filament, and both of them together are known as stamen. So, and this stamen is the male organ of the flower. Next is anther. The swollen tip of each stamen that encloses it in a small powdery substance called pollen grains. So this yellow part is known as anther. Inside it, a powdery substance called pollen grains are present. You can see here also. These yellow parts are known as anther, and this tube-like structure is known as filament. Inside these yellow anthers, pollen grains are present, which look like a powdery substance. This is the anther, and this stalk-like structure is known as a filament, and together it is known as stamen. So next is filament. It is a long stalk-like cylindrical part of the stamen. The function of the filament is simply to hold up the anther. This part is known as filament. This you can see here also. These tube-like structures are known as filaments, and their main function is to hold the anther only. Next is carpal. It is a flask-shaped organ in the center of the flower. It is the female organ of the flower. It consists of three parts: style, stigma and ovary. So this is the carpal, and it is the female organ of the flower, and it consists of three parts: stigma, style and ovary. A long thin tube-like structure which is swollen at the base is known as style. So this long and thin structure which is swollen at the base, it is known as style. Next is stigma. Small round and sticky part of the carpal at the top of the style that trap the pollen grains. Next is stigma. This is stigma, small round and sticky part of the carpal, and it is present at the top. Now the next is so this is stigma is present at the top of the style, and it traps the pollen grains. Next is ovary, swollen part of carpal that contains ovules. This is the ovary. You can see here also. This part is known as this yellowish part is known as the ovary. and inside it ovules are present. Here you can see, here this is the ovary and inside it ovules are present. Now you can see this clearly. This yellowish part is known as ovary. This is the ovary, inside it ovules are present. So these are the parts of flower. So there are so many parts of flower: pedicels, sepals, petals, stamen, anther, filament, carpal, style, stigma, ovary, and they have different functions. And this flower is the reproductive organ of the plant, in which stamen is known as male reproductive organ and carpal is known as female reproductive organ. Stamen consists of anther and filament, whereas carpal consists of style, stigma, and ovary. So this is the structure or parts of a flower. Now there are several functions of flowers also. So what are the functions of flower? Flowers help in reproduction. So flower are the reproductive organ, that's why they help in reproduction. These become fruits that store food and seeds, and these flowers become fruits that store food and seeds. Modified flowers like cauliflower, broccoli are the rich source of vitamins. So these cauliflower and broccoli are modified flower which are also considered as vegetables, and they are rich in vitamins. So next is stem. Stem form the central axis of the plant body, give rise to a number of branches that bear leaves. The stem bear leaves, flowers and fruits. So stem is the central axis of the plant body which give rise to a number of branches, and the stem consists of leaves, flowers and fruits, and there are several functions of this stem. So what are the functions of stem? It provides support to the plant. It provides support to the plant. It bear important plant parts. It consists of important plant parts. It help in transpiration. Stem also help in transpiration of water and food. Thick and fleshy stem make food, and some stems also make food, whereas in green plants leaves make food, but in some plants fleshy stem and thick stem also makes food. Underground stem stored food. Underground stem like radish, carrot store food. Stems modified into tendrils give extra support for plants, and some stems which are modified into tendrils, which they give extra support to plants. So I hope you have understood these topics, that what are the parts of a leaf and what are the functions of these parts of the leaf. What are the functions of leaf? What are the two types of venation, parallel venation and reticulate venation? Parallel venations have parallel arrangement of veins, whereas in reticulate venation the arrangement of veins are web-like. Next is flowers and its parts, or the structure of a flower. There are several parts: pedicel, sepal, petal, stamen, anther, filament, carpal, style, stigma and ovary, and they have different functions. Next is the functions of the flower. Help in reproduction. They become fruit that store food and seeds also, and some modified flowers are rich source of vitamins like cauliflower and broccoli. Now the next is stem. Stem is the central axis of the plant body, and they have several functions, like they provide support to plant, they bear important plant parts, etc. Now you have to do an activity after the revision of this chapter. Your first activity is collect at least 5 leaves of each different types of plant and place them on A4 size sheet and write their name also. So what you have to do is, you have to collect at least 5 leaves of perennial plants, different perennial plants, 5 of different biennial plants and 5 of different annual plants, and you have to paste these leaves on A4 size sheet with their name as well. And your second activity is collect leaves of 5 plants having fibrous roots and tap roots. So you have to collect leaves of 5 different plants which have fibrous roots and 5 different plants which have tap roots. And these leaves you also have to paste on A4 size sheet and write their names and the types of root. And after that you have to send this activity in class group. Okay, so this is your homework. You have to do this activity within 2 days. So thank you and see you in the next video.